Hey guys, what's going on? And thanks for tuning in to Legatum Gaming, where today it is another vendor reset video. So like normal, what I do every week is I search through all of the safe houses, all of the checkpoints in both the open world and in the dark zone, and of course checking the base of operations. Now what I will do is make it easier for you guys by putting in a timestamp below. So if you guys check the description, if you didn't want to watch the whole video, however you did want to get to a specific time in the video where you can just search through what gear, weapon, or mod suits you best, then please feel free to do so. So let's make a start. The Advanced Weaponry Vendor. So it actually has a couple nice pieces of things this week. So let's make a start with the lightweight M4. Now you first initially look at it, 23% enemy armor damage, and you're jumping around. However, it does have self-preserved, accurate, and vicious. Now vicious is pretty reasonable. My recommendation here is to swap out self-preserved and put in whatever suits your build best. This could be maybe deadly or brutal or responsive, whatever suits your build best. Now it does have accurate as a mill, so it's certainly not guttural and is probably not PvP viable. However, for those people who do want a lightweight M4 and probably PvE is more better for this, then certainly check this out. Now they do have an M700 carbon, which is pretty reasonable, so 159% headshot damage with competent, toxic, and elevated. Of course, elevated is the talent you cannot roll out, and it comes with a weapon, so it's actually not too bad. It's pretty good. Competent, of course, is a very nice talent. However, the skill power is 3,832. That's kind of the roll you need on it. So my advice is, if you did want to run this, although it's not DPS focused because you need competent at 3,800, or you could keep toxic, it's entirely up to you. My recommendation is to swap out toxic and put in prepared. That's like an extra 15% damage if you're more than 30 meters from the target. So that's my recommendation with that. And they actually have a really nice pro red dot sight. So 6% headshot damage, 3% critical hit chance, and 4% critical hit damage. So 3 or 4 really nice pieces of gear and mods for you guys to check out this week. Alright, so let's go check what else we have. Okay, at the special equipment vendor in the base, they have 3 things I want to show you today. The first one being the Liberator. Now it has 23% enemy armor damage, which is the max, with the talents Adept, Accurate, and Responsive. My advice is to roll out Accurate, and as I always say, put in whatever you want. Maybe deadly or brutal or something along these lines. Just to watch out though, Adept is in the first slot, which means your requirement for electronics would be 3,832. However, for a hybrid build, this is certainly a very nice roll. The second piece of gear that I want to show you is the Final Measure Vest, which is pretty much, or could be pretty much, a god roll. So, skill haste 9%, enemy armor damage 5%, and it also has ammo capacity on it. So don't worry too much about the main stat being stamina at 1170, because you could roll this out to either, well, whatever you want, Firearms, or increase the stamina, or skill power. My advice is Firearms or skill power. Stamina is a little broken in 1.6 or 1.6.1, shall I say. So don't ever roll things into stamina. However, it has the capability of being an almost god roll final measure vest. So certainly check this out if you need it. And the second piece is Striker Gloves, I believe. There we go, Striker Gloves. So 1251 is the firearm stat, with pistol damage, shotgun damage, and critical hit damage. Now, the only reason I say these are god roll is because I know that people who only run Striker or only run shotgun builds tend to only use Striker for the stacking of the shots. So if you are running Striker and you are running a shotgun build and you're not using Savage, you could swap these out. Or mainly swap out the pistol damage and put in maybe critical hit chance or enemy armor damage. So these 3 pieces of gear that I've shown you are really good. Now the only thing I would say before buying them is, you know, Phoenix credits are very valuable, and for 600 or 700 for each piece of gear, just be really careful when you buy them. Like, do you really need them? Because gear does drop quite frequently, and my recommendation would be to actually save up a lot of these credits for when 1.7 lands. So if you do need them and they're really good for you, then by all means check them out. However, I would just say be careful of spending your money. Right, let's go check out the Special Blueprints vendor. Alright, so this week they have the classic M60 blueprint, the Snub-nosed Rhino, stamina gloves, the holster blueprint, and the Pro red dot sight, which is actually really good because the main stat on that is critical hit damage. So these are the ones for this week, so check them out if you need them. Again, as I always add, just check these out yourself because I might already have a blueprint in here, and if I already have a blueprint, it will not show again. So for example, there could be, let's use the lightweight M4. I could have that blueprint, and it could actually be visible this week for you guys to buy. However, because I have it, it won't show. So certainly always check out the blueprints vendor yourself. At the gear vendor at the base of operations, they have a prototype electronics mod, which is rolled to skill haste on it. So for those people who were after a little booster for the skill haste, whilst also specking into electronics, I would certainly recommend checking this out. Although it's not the worst, although it's not the best, it's certainly not the worst. So the main stat is 253, which is actually pretty good. So definitely one to check out for this week, guys. At the Cavern safe house this week, they have a really nice rapid vest. So it has enemy armor damage at 5.5%, skill haste at 8%, and then the minor being increased kill XP. Being a more skill power driven vest, I would recommend rolling out the firearms and putting it in for electronics. And then it's pretty much kind of almost god roll. There's a few different variants you could have on this, like rolling out enemy armor damage and putting health. And a lot of people query with ammo capacity. However, when's the last time you guys ever ran out of ammo? So it's not god roll. However, certainly one to check out if you missed this vest a couple of weeks ago. We have done all of the safe houses of the open world. Let's make a start on the dark zone. Now I have been to West 31st Street and nothing is there. So West 34th Street, however, does offer you a pretty nice prototype electronics mod. Now as you can see, the main stat on it is 266, so a very, very high stat. And also has as the major skill power. So for those people who do want to increase your skill power stat, it can be a very, very nice mod to get. So check it out, West 34th Street. Certainly recommend it for this week. Okay, at West 39th Street, they have a really, really nice prototype firearms mod. Now, I've actually been after these, or wanted this standard for a little while. So the main stat is 262 firearms with 3% skill haste. So I'm certainly going to be picking some of these up myself. Definitely check that out this week, guys. Alright guys, East 58th this week offers two pieces of gear I certainly want to let you guys know about. So there's a nice Vigorous chest piece which has 1264 stamina, with the majors being all resistance at 4%, health being at just under 15,000, and ammo capacity at being just under 50%. So a pretty nice vest all in all without making too many key changes. The only thing I would do is probably swap out stamina and increase it firearms or electronics, just for the sheer fact that stamina does not stack as well as firearms or electronics in the current mode we're on, which is 1.6.1. However, in 1.7 they haven't mentioned it yet, but hopefully they will fix it. However, if you did want to keep your stamina, I would probably just change out all resistance and putting something different there, depending on how you play, or as I always say, what you run with. It's entirely up to you. Now, the second is the Accomplished knee pads, which is primarily for the PvE players. It's pretty nice, actually. It has enemy armor damage, which although it's not maxed, it's not far off, and the skill power stat is pretty much maxed that you can get. So, a nice start. The only thing I would change is the blind and deaf resistance, and probably put in damage to elites, just to make it more of a PvE focused build, or knee pads to be specific. So definitely check these out for this week, guys. Two pieces of a really nice gear. Okay, at East 46th this week, they have a pretty nice custom M44. Now, it has 154% headshot damage, so it's not maxed, although it does have Deadly, Vicious, and Unforgiving, and Unforgiving being in the third slot. So, all in all, very, very nice. Again, the only thing I would swap out is probably Vicious and put in Brutal for the headshot damage. So it could be a pretty nice sniper rifle for those people who don't have one yet, or want a little bit of a better one than they already have. Certainly check this out. Although the headshot damage, as I've said, is not max, it's about 15% off the maximum. So not too far away, however, not the best, certainly not the worst. Okay guys, at East 40th this week, they have a really nice rapid vest. Now I did mention this earlier in the video, however, we found a better one. So, it does have Firearms as the main stat, however, don't worry about that. You would swap that out to Electronics and max it out. It has really nice health, it's about 1,000 off max, with enemy armor damage and ammo capacity. So certainly better than the vest earlier, however, they're not too dissimilar, and definitely check out the rapid vest, whether it's this one or the other one. At 5th Avenue this week, they have a really nice Omega Rifle Suppressor, with the majors being 17% headshot damage, 2.5% critical hit chance, and 4% critical hit damage. So certainly one to check out this week for those people who do want to increase their headshot damage or have it as the main stat as the major. Definitely check out the Omega Rifle Suppressor, guys. Okay guys, at the DZ4 safe house, they have a Prototypes Firearms mod, which is a pretty nice roll, 259. It's a good stat on that, and it has skill power as the major. So for those people who don't want skill haste and instead want skill power, certainly check out DZ4 safe house this week. Okay guys, at DZ6 safe house, they have a God roll Banshee Shadow holster, 1222 firearms, 1257 stamina, and 1234 electronics, and the major being health at 7,228. So either you can increase the firearms, increase the health, change it to critical hit chance, or even reload speed. Entirely up to you, depending on how you play or what you do. However, if you do use Banshee and you did want a better one, definitely check out DZ6 Safe House. If you didn't play Banshee, I would recommend just buying this because it is a really, really nice holster. Okay guys, at DZ8 Safe House, they have some reasonable Savage gloves. So for those people who don't have them, this is only specifically aimed at those people who do run shotguns, just for the sheer fact it has shotgun damage, critical hit damage, and pistol damage. The good news, it is rolled to firearms, and the stat is pretty reasonable. My recommendation is to swap out pistol damage and maybe put in critical hit chance or enemy armor damage, and actually keep shotgun in. However, like I said, it's only specific to those who do run shotgun, but if you did need them, then certainly check these out. Okay guys, and we're at DZ9 Safe House, the last safe house of the vendor reset. And they do have a really nice striker holster, which I do want to show you. It can actually be pretty much God roll. Like, the armor on it is pretty decent. It has 1254 stamina, 1250 electronics, and 1199 firearms with 3.5% critical hit chance. So my recommendation is to swap out the firearms and to increase it so you can kind of get all three of these above 1250, and then it would probably be one of the best holsters you can actually get. So definitely check this out. In fact, you know what? I'm going to get one myself. It's certainly very, very good. And then downstairs, they have a really nice suppressor I also want to show you. Alright, it's the SR7 suppressor. So it has 17% critical hit damage, 6% headshot damage, and 2.5% critical hit chance. I would get one of these myself, but I already have a couple. So definitely do check this out. Now, the vendor reset for this week hasn't been as good as it has in the past couple of weeks, so I do apologize for that. However, don't shoot the messenger. Alright guys, so that kind of does conclude the video. If you guys did like the video, if it did help you in any way, then please do comment, please do let me know. I do appreciate that. A thumbs up would also be greatly appreciated, and of course, to see more content on a regular basis, then hit the subscribe button. Alright guys, thanks a lot and have a great day.